My topic is discrimination against the hearing impaired in the workplace. Um, After reading three different articles, I have been awakened to the fact that there's a lot of discrimination going on in the workplace against those who are hearing impaired, and any other kind of disability people may have. The PDF article titled "Estimate of Wages Discrimination Against Workers with Sensory Disabilities with Control for Job Demands" um, it explains to us how those that are hearing impaired are paid such a lower scale than those that are not, even though they may be doing the same job. Um, the education of those that are hearing impaired is very important if they are going to compete with their coworkers who can hear. Um, that also plays a lot in how much they will get paid or not, and also whether or not a particular job site has or company has or will provide the aids that the hearing impaired employee needs will determine whether that employee will stay on that job or lose that job, because they do need assistance in working, whether it's a personal interpreter or some type of technology. Fighting workplace discrimination against the hearing impaired is another PDF article that I was reading that talked about the different cases that were taken to court, and won, which was good, for those who were discriminated against in the workplace. It's one particular lady who was applying to a company for a job, and the company was asking that those that were applying to go through this training via computer work, which was about 24 hours of computer work, told the woman that they would not provide her with any assistance, that she would have to pay for it herself. Actually, I think they said they would pay like $200. Now, which, again, this woman was looking for employment, and they made it very hard for her to even apply for the job. Well, her case was taken to court, and she won against that company. And not only her case, but many others have been taken to court and fought for and won through the equal employment system. And so I found that very interesting, how some companies see the difference in providing a hearing impaired person with an interpreter or some type of technology to help them do their job as more costly, when actually, in my own mind, I think about how companies provide their workers with new computers all the time, and that computer is assisting that person, whether they can hear or not, to do their job. So I don't know, that's just a thought that ran through my head, that companies are already supplying their employees with the different technology equipment that they need to perform a job. So what's the difference in helping the hearing impaired with the technology that they need to do a job? And so that's truly discrimination. And so the article brought that out, how with most companies the bottom line is money. And in the PDF article, recognizing sound and the city asserting the right to the deaf-friendly city, made a very interesting point how prejudice and stigma has been attached to those who cannot hear, um, and esteeming them as less than because they cannot hear or behave as hearing or able to speak the native language, and how that has such a stigma upon them, and how it has made them to seem to be less than, and that the thoughts of society mind is that if a person cannot hear, they are somehow considered less than the person that can, when those that cannot hear also go to school, get educated, and are able to work just like the rest of us. It's very hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that a person is less than human just because they cannot hear. I don't know if that's because I grew up with a very, very close friend from childhood who is deaf, but we always manage to communicate. And no, I don't know sign language. But the articles, there's a thread through all the articles and how they talk about the prejudice is and the stigma that has been placed on the deaf in the workplace as well as outside of the workplace, as considering them less than. And unfortunately, a lot of coworkers don't know how to address or associate or communicate with their hearing impaired coworkers, and so most of them find themselves isolated, those that are hearing impaired. And so what the companies need to do, and what really basically the bottom line is, to educate themselves and educate their employees to come together and work together with those that are hearing impaired.